Thank you for watching our child safety videos this week. If you haven't seen them all, they started on Monday and they were at 11 o'clock every morning. You can get them on our Facebook page. But as promised, we have some questions for you. So the first question is, what would you do if your cooking caught fire? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to answer them and put them in the comments box below. The second question is, in the kitchen video that we did, why did the kettle catch fire? And again, they can go in the comments box below. And my last question for the kitchen is, what should you do when you've finished with your tumble dryer? Okay, over to Jo.
Right, so my first lot of questions are all about the bedroom and the problems that we had with the electrics in there. So first of all, my first question is, what is daisy chaining? So what is daisy chaining? We showed you that. Moving on to question 2, how many plugs should you put in one socket, ideally? How many plugs in one socket? And my third question for this round was, what should we do when we've finished using our hair straighteners? Where should we put them? What should we do? Where should we put our straighteners when we've finished using them? Great, so I'm going to pass back to Liz now.
Thank you, Jo. My third set of questions is, how long should you spend on your games console? We did talk about this when we did the video about the laptop on the chair. So again, you can put it in the comments box. My second question on this section is, where is the best place to use your laptop? Again, we talked about that on the chair. And my third question is, why should you use the correct charging lead? Okay. I'll pass you back to Jo.
Thank you.
For the last set of questions.
And the last set of questions was all about the water safety. So I talked about if somebody fell in the river and you were with them, that you shouldn't jump in. But I named lots of things that we can actually use to help that person. So what I want you to do is name one thing that you could use to help to rescue that person that's in the water, because you're not going to go in. So one thing I mentioned, there were several bits, what can you use to help that person? So moving on, we're going to the beach now. So what does the 2 red flags on the beach mean? One, either end of the beach, what does the red flag mean on the beach? And the last question is, how much water can you drown in? I mentioned this when we were talking about the paddling pool, and I told you roughly how much water was in my paddling pool. So how much water does it take that you can actually drown in? Think of that paddling pool.
Well, we'll give you a couple of seconds just to get your answers down, and then we'll go through the answers. So we'll start off with the kitchen. What would you do if your cooking caught fire? All we want you to do is get yourselves to safety. If you can, and it's safe to do so, turn the cooker off if it's the cooker that's on fire, but just get out, shut the door, get outside your house, call 999 and we'll wait for the fire service to arrive. That's all you need to do. The second question was, why did the kettle catch fire? The kettle caught fire because the lid didn't fit on the kettle and it wouldn't close down, and it boiled dry. And that's quite a common thing in kettles. So the kettle caught fire because it boiled itself dry. And the last one in the kitchen was, what should you do when you finish using the tumble dryer? It was get rid of all the fluff, because a build-up of fluff can cause a fire. So well done if you got those 3. Jo?
Okay, so what was daisy chaining? That's when we had 3 extension leads all plugged into one another, which gave us loads of plugs to plug in, but we shouldn't be overloading them. As I say, 13 amp fuse is in the plug that actually goes into the wall. So ideally, with all those ones plugged in together, you should still only put plugs up to 13 amps of the fuse. We should not put them all together like that. My second question, also to do with plugs, was how many plugs do we like to one socket? We like 1 plug to 1 socket if we can do it. It's really quite important. And remember, when we finish with those plugs, we're going to switch them off at the wall as well. And my third question is, what should we do when we've finished with our hair straighteners? Where should we put them? And I mentioned perhaps getting a tile from one of the tile shops. You can buy a single tile, or as I say, some straighteners, you can actually put your straighteners back in the box. They've got a special bit in there so it doesn't catch fire. But the one place or the 2 places, if you don't want them, is on the bed, on the quilt, or on the carpet. It will burn very, very quickly. So back to Liz again.
Okay, now this one is, how long should you spend on your games console? That's down to your parents, but please remember that they need time to cool down. So your parents aren't nagging you to get off your games console because they're being mean. It's so that it gives the games console time to cool down so that it doesn't catch fire. Where is the best place to place your laptop? On a hard surface, ideally at a desk or on a table. So wherever you can, put it on a hard surface and switch it off so it allows it time to cool down. And why should you use the right charging lead? That is because the one that comes with it is designed to switch it off when it's fully charged. So the correct charging lead is because it will switch itself off and won't keep charging and overheating. Okay, well done if you got any of those right. Well done, Jo.
And the last 3 questions then. Name one thing you could throw to somebody who was in the water. So I had a ball, so the ball can float. I had an umbrella. I had a fleece, stretched the arms rather, and I also had a big stick that I found on the riverbank. And there are other things you might find as well. My second one was, what does a red flag mean on the beach? The red flag is for danger, so we are not going to go in the water if there are 2 red flags on the beach. The lifeguards do know best. We might look at it and think, no, it's all right, I can get in there. If those flags are there, please obey them, please. And the last one, how much water can you drown in? Remember that paddling pool, that small paddling pool? Literally, 1 inch or so of water is all it takes. If your nose and your mouth are under the water or in the water, you can actually drown from that. So that's all our questions. We had 12 questions today. Hope you got them all right. And what Liz and I would like to say is thank you very much for watching, hopefully every day this week. We hope you've learned something. And we'd also like to know, as Liz said at the beginning, if you've changed anything at home because of what we've spoken about this week, can you let us know? Because that means a lot to us. We really like that. And then next Friday at 11 o'clock, we should be back on again for you. So thanks again for watching. Keep safe. Keep all your children safe. That's brilliant. So thank you from me and
Thank you from me as well. Thank you.
bye.